Okay, just to talk on Saturday's game. Usually Kelly and Quinn Kelly and I guess most guys come to the away game, so I blame the loss. And we didn't have our normal crew of media. Right, Moose? Am I right on that, or can I use that as an excuse, or no?
You had nobody.
Yeah. See, they left us hanging. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
So, anyway, just say in all seriousness, on Saturday, I was really obviously disappointed with our turnovers. I really have felt we had turned the corner, and I still believe we had. We just had a bad game with turnovers. 22, you're not going to win a game having 22 turnovers. And what I would tell you is, as well as we're playing offensively and scoring the ball, to lose those opportunities to give you, because the reality is the probability is if we get a shot up, we have a good chance of scoring based on our offensive numbers. And that was aggravating based on the most aggravating thing on Saturday was the 22 turnovers. And we had really made great strides on correcting that. And Saturday was just, it wasn't good. And so I'm hoping that's just a one-game slippage, and we get back to being better, making sure we're moving in the right direction on Wednesday versus Louisville, which if we want to win the game, we got no choice but to take better care of the ball. I think Louisville's really, really good. I've said in the preseason that they're good enough to cut down the nets in Atlanta in that Monday in April. That they're they got tons of great players. They're extremely well coached. Coach Mack does an incredible job. Jordan Awar is Player of the Year candidate in this league, and they're just really, really good. And we'll have to be really good. In fact, one of our numbers I was looking at, where it's like when we turn it over 23% or more of our possessions, we're like 1-9, and under 23, we're 10-4. So it just all comes back to ball security with us, based on how we're scoring, based on that we are a good offensive team, and but we're going to have to be really, really great on Wednesday if we want to have a chance to win the game.
A lot of early turnovers. Do you read anything into that?
No, we could have easily been up 18 to 4,
Right.
20 to 6. And they were unforced errors. Just for no reason for it to happen. I didn't think Jose played really well, and it wasn't about his shooting. He didn't have the same toughness factor, that grit.
Getting in the lane.
Just he wasn't as good on Saturday, and he's our head of our snake. Now, I can attribute that he had a child on Wednesday. He did tell me he was overwhelmed, which I understand. He's 21, and here he is bringing a new human being into life. So I don't think he really slept a lot, and obviously that was he didn't play as sharp as he's been. And part of that, he missed some practice times. I had to let him leave early. It was kind of an awkward week, as in terms of basketball wise, for him to keep his sharpness.
With Jordan Awar, you put Jose on him. That was really effective in the last game. I imagine they'll try to probably come up with something to counter that. But can you kind of talk about that, how that kind of factored in the success you did have up there?
Jose, and that was the week he got Player of the Week. Part of that was because he had 10 rebounds. Now he did have 6 turnovers versus Louisville that game, but he had 10 rebounds and he guarded Jordan Awar really well. So I'm sure they're going to come up with some different things, and we'll have to be prepared for that.
What was Justin Champagne doing that you had a hard time with?
He hit some big shots. Pittsburgh hit some timely big shots. Pittsburgh had some key offensive rebounds. But again, when you give them 22 extra possessions plus 13 offensive rebounds, and as well as we're scoring the ball, the turnovers can't happen. Not the way we're scoring. We're a good offensive basketball team now, but if we're turning it over like that, it's just a recipe for disaster. And I said this earlier in the press conference. You look at North Carolina, Duke, Syracuse, Louisville, and I will say Virginia. Those are 5 blue blood programs, especially, and you include Virginia for what they've done over the last time period here. And Florida State is, over the last decade, they've been about as good as anybody in the country. Those 6 right there are really good. If you took the other 9 and just formed a league, I believe that league would be just as good, if not better, than the Big East, as good as Big 12, Big 10, SEC, Pac-12, or better than a lot of those leagues. And I say that to say that's how good this league is in the ACC. Just those 9, take out the 6 I mentioned, but just those 9 are so. If you just formed a league of those 9, that's how good this league is. And then you add the 6 that I mentioned. I mean, it's just. And I say all that to say, you can't turn it over like we did, because we in a league like this and win the games. And maybe in some other leagues you're able to do it, but I just know in this league, if you have 22 turnovers, it's just hard to win. It's almost impossible to win, and this league is too good to do that. So, and Champagne, or I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. Champagny, yeah. It's spelled like champagne, but it's pronounced.
But it doesn't taste like it.
But he kicked our butt. He kicked our butt, and he's a freshman, and I thought he was really, really good. He had 30 points, did a great job on the offensive glass, and he had big threes, and he had big shots at the elbow too. So all credit to Coach Capel, their staff, and their team.
How discouraging was it to see DeVoe have nearly a third of all those turnovers, given how well the guards have been playing mostly all season?
Yeah, I mean, look, Michael DeVoe is really, really good offensively, and I think in that game he was shooting 70% or something from the field. His offensive efficiency rating is one of the best. But you can't be having 8 turnovers, so it's frustrating, because if he didn't have those, he might have ended up with 40. Because the way, so it's just, he can't be turning the ball over like that. It just can't happen.
Looking at the numbers, your sense that to get to the NCAA tournament, you have to win the AC tournament now?
I haven't even looked that far, Ken. I think what our first objective is, look, we want to get to the NCAA tournament, but I've stayed true to that. Since Hawaii, that we want to stick to the process. I think the first objective, before we even get to thinking on that, I think for us as our program, and I've said this many times, we got to get off to Tuesday. So I think that's our next step. And yes, trust me, I want to play in the NCAA tournament. It's a drive, it's a goal. Who doesn't? It's part of what you want to turn the program back to the NCAA tournament. But I don't think we can even get to that point until we've got to make sure that we finish in a way that we're not playing on a Tuesday. I think that's step one. Then we can decide from there, or as in terms of what do we have to do with wins and what's our record. But the first thing is we've got to make sure that we're trying to not play on that first day and get off of Tuesday. And that hasn't been done, right, Moose? When was the last time to get to Wednesday? It's been a while. Yeah. Whether starting on Wednesday or getting to Wednesday So that is our next step, and we've got to find a way to do that. I think it's an important part for the season.
Are you frustrated? I mean, you're in the manageable part of your schedule in comparison, just in terms of the teams you're facing, and to start it off with a loss on the road against Pitt, then a game you kind of had them for a little bit. That's got to be tough, because really, other than Syracuse, all of your games have been close that you've lost this season, and games that were games within 2 minutes
that's
or
the
so.
thing, Kelly, is what's been most frustrating is that there's, in the Syracuse games, like I said, it's an anomaly, because that was a bad stretch of basketball. We didn't get to really practice beforehand because of the finals. We didn't have Jose, so we just had about a 10-day window there where we were out of kilter. But all the other games in the ACC, you could point that we've had great opportunities to win and maybe should have won. Yeah. And that's been the most frustrating thing, is that we talk about being really close, and that's why I keep saying that's the hardest part, is being able to get through the door. We did a good job of that at NC State, but we didn't get through the door against 52-52, where we had the early lead, and those are things that we've got to be able to get through the door. We're at the door, but to be able to get through the door is the hardest part, and it's learning how to win in those type of games. So when it is 52-52, 59, 56 or whatever, those type of things you've got to learn how to find a way to win the games, and that's what we've got to learn to do. Otherwise, we're going to keep losing the close ones.
Is that a leadership thing? Is that a maturity?
It's a real time just getting over the hump to be able to do it. And you know, we work on time and score, practice situations, but there's nothing like actual winning to show that. I mean, it's like the Louisville game. The first time we should have won. We had a chance to win the game, and when you have an opportunity to do that, you got to take advantage of it. Or Duke at home, or Virginia here, Notre Dame at home. You've got to take advantage of those things, and that's the next step in our program. We've got to find a way to be able to get over that hump and win those games.
The last time against Louisville, they played 10 guys, and then heading into this game, there's the possibility that Evan Cole might not play. How much will depth play into this game on both sides of the ball?
They play 9-10 guys, like you said, and Evan Cole's questionable. You know, I don't know if he'll play on Wednesday or not. He obviously wasn't able to play last week, but we hope he's ready to go on Wednesday.
How has that affected the way you approach the minutes, and how has it affected the big
Well, I
guys?
mean, Evan's been good for us, so it definitely hurt us on Saturday not having, especially in that type of, you know, kind of, you know, gritty game. We needed a guy like Evan.
His energy.
Yep.
Given what you're saying about just the frustration over all these games you could win, I imagine you probably thought your record would be a little better.
Yeah, I mean, well, Ken, and I really felt that we've gotten better. I know the record might not show in that sense of, okay, you know, well, you say that, Coach, but your record is, you know, what your record is. But I also like to say that I really felt we should be judged starting in December off of in the Diamond Head. Missing Jose earlier in the year, you know, bit us in the rear. There's no question about that. And we've had some opportunities to win games we just did not take advantage of. So yes, if we've learned how to finish, our record would be different. I can just tell you that we are better. We've made great improvements. We are a better team. We've really improved. Guys have gotten better. We're better offensively. We're still good defensively. It's learning how to win. And that's when I keep saying that being able to break through that door, and that's the hardest part now. And we've got to find a way to do it over these last 7 before Greensboro.
This is
I mean, is that your responsibility?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm the head coach, so I mean, you're going to show film, you're going to do things in practice. I mean, when you lose a game, everything falls on the coach. Winning falls on the players, losing falls on the head coach, without question. And so how do we do that? I'm just, you know, my job is to put them in positions to succeed, and then we've just got to get over that hump. And the only way to do that is real time. And I thought we made good strides versus North Carolina State because we found a way to win. We played well versus Virginia Tech. We've got to learn how to win these close games. And probably the facts show over these next 7, all these games are going to be close. And you're going to have some opportunities. It's going to come down to we've got to push through that door. Okay?